Before you scroll away, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what I am about to say may be the answer you have been searching for in all the wrong places. You have spent so much time looking for a sign, a breakthrough, a miracle, a sudden change, a dramatic answer. Yet, what if the very thing you have been asking me for has already been standing quietly beside you? What if the peace you have been begging for has been knocking gently on the door of your heart while you were waiting for something louder? My beloved, I know how tired you are. I know about the thoughts that arrive before the sun rises. I know about the worries that sit beside you at the breakfast table. I know about the fears you never tell anyone else, the concerns you hide behind smiles, the questions you keep buried behind your responsibilities. Nothing about your struggle is hidden from me. Not one tear, not one sleepless night, not one anxious thought, not one silent prayer whispered into a dark room. I have seen them all, and I have remained beside you through every moment. Many people believe my presence only exists inside extraordinary events. They believe I am only working when something dramatic happens. They think I am absent when life feels quiet. But that is not how I work. The deepest works I perform inside a human heart often happen in silence. Seeds grow in silence. Healing begins in silence. Trust develops in silence. Peace arrives in silence. The world has trained you to expect noise. The world tells you that louder means better, faster means stronger, bigger means more important. But my kingdom has never operated according to the world's measurements. The strongest tree grows slowly. The deepest river flows steadily. The greatest peace arrives gently. You have been waiting for me to shout. Meanwhile, I have been whispering. You have been waiting for thunder. Meanwhile, I have been sending peace. You have been waiting for certainty. Meanwhile, I have been offering my presence. There is a difference, and learning that difference may change your life. Because peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is my presence inside problems. Many people spend years trying to remove every source of anxiety before they allow themselves to rest. But peace does not wait for perfect circumstances. Peace enters imperfect circumstances and remains there. That is why some people can have everything and still feel empty, and others can walk through storms while remaining steady. The difference is not their situation. The difference is where they place their trust. Today I want you to stop carrying everything alone. You were never designed to carry the entire weight of your future. You were never created to solve tomorrow, before today has even finished. You were never meant to hold every burden by yourself. That weight was never yours. Give yourself permission to release it, not because the situation is solved, not because every answer has appeared, but because I am here, and I am capable of carrying what you cannot. Take a slow breath. Right now, notice how your chest rises. Notice how your lungs fill. You did not command that breath. You received it. The same way you receive my mercy, the same way you receive my strength, the same way you receive my peace. You do not earn these gifts. You receive them. Some of you have become exhausted because you keep trying to manufacture peace. You analyze every possibility. You prepare for every disaster. You imagine every outcome. You rehearse every conversation. You inspect every detail. Yet the peace you seek cannot be produced by control. Peace grows where trust begins. And trust begins when you finally admit that you do not have to be your own savior. I already occupy that position. Let me be God. Let me carry what belongs to me. Let me handle what is beyond your reach. Your responsibility is obedience. My responsibility is the outcome. That division of labor has not changed, even now. Somebody reading this feels as though they have been abandoned. You wonder why your prayers seem unanswered. You wonder why circumstances have not improved. You wonder why the struggle continues. Hear me clearly. Silence is not abandonment. Delay is not rejection. Waiting is not punishment. I am still working. Even when you cannot see movement, even when you cannot feel progress, even when your emotions suggest otherwise. My work often continues underground long before visible fruit appears. Do not judge my activity by your ability to detect it. Trust my character. Trust my heart. Trust my promises. There will come a day when you look back and realize I was arranging things you could not see, protecting you from things you never knew about, preparing blessings you were not yet ready to receive, building strength you would later need, creating opportunities that required patience. Nothing has been wasted. Not your tears, not your waiting, not your prayers, not your disappointments, not even your mistakes. I am able to weave all things together for good in ways beyond your understanding. So stop measuring your future through today's emotions. Feelings change. Circumstances change. Opinions change. But my faithfulness remains. Always. If this message is speaking directly to your heart, pause for a moment and write, I choose peace. Let those words become a declaration. Let them become a reminder. Let them become a small step toward freedom. And as you continue listening, stay with me until the very end of this journey, because the words ahead may help you recognize burdens you were never meant to carry, and peace that has been waiting for you all along. If these words have encouraged your spirit today, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs hope. And if you feel blessed by what you receive here and would like to support this ministry, you can do so through the link provided below. More importantly, keep your heart open, because I am not finished speaking to you yet. Come closer and listen carefully. There is something I need you to understand before this day continues. The heaviness you are carrying right now was never designed to live on your shoulders. You have been trying to carry tomorrow while still walking through today. You have been attempting to solve problems that have not even arrived. You have been fighting battles that exist only in your imagination. You have been exhausting yourself, preparing for storms that may never come. And little by little, the weight has stolen your peace. My beloved, there is a reason your heart feels tired. There is a reason your mind feels crowded. There is a reason your soul feels stretched thin. You were created to live one day at a time. Yet somewhere along the journey, fear convinced you that carrying tomorrow would make you safer. Fear whispered that constant worry was preparation. Fear whispered that anxiety was responsibility. Fear whispered that if you stayed alert enough, you could prevent pain. But fear lied. Worry has never prevented tomorrow. It has only stolen today. Think about how many hours you have spent imagining outcomes that never happened. Think about how many nights you have spent rehearsing conversations that never took place. Think about how many tears were shed over scenarios that never became reality. Fear promised protection. Instead, it delivered exhaustion. That is why I am speaking to you now, not to condemn you, not to shame you, but to free you. Because freedom begins when you stop carrying what was never yours. Some of you wake up already anxious. The day has not even started, yet your thoughts are racing. Before your feet touch the floor, your mind is already calculating problems. Bills, relationships, health concerns, family responsibilities, work pressures, unanswered questions. The future. The future. The future. Always the future. And while your thoughts are living weeks ahead, your life is happening right now. You cannot experience today's blessings while constantly living in tomorrow's fears. Notice the birds outside your window. They do not gather enough food for 10 years. They gather what is needed for today. Notice the flowers growing in the field. They do not spend their days worrying about next season. Yet I care for them. I sustain them. I provide for them. And are you not worth far more than flowers? Far more than birds? Far more than anything else I created? Then why do you believe I will forget you? Why do you believe I will abandon you? Why do you believe you must carry everything yourself? You have been treating yourself as though you are alone, but you are not alone. You have never been alone, even during the seasons when you felt abandoned, even during the nights when nobody called, even during the moments when the room felt empty. I was there, watching, protecting, guiding, holding. You may not have felt me, but my presence has never depended upon your feelings. The sun still shines above the clouds, and my faithfulness remains above your doubts. Many of you think peace arrives after answers appear. You think peace comes after finances improve, after relationships heal, after test results return, after opportunities open, after circumstances change. But if peace only arrives after everything is fixed, then very few people will ever experience it. Nah, my peace works differently. My peace enters first, before the answer, before the solution, before the breakthrough, before the explanation. My peace walks into uncertainty and remains there. That is why it surprises people. It does not make sense. It does not follow human logic. It surpasses understanding. Some of you are waiting for enough information before you rest. But rest is not found in information. Rest is found in trust. You do not need to know everything. You only need to know me. And I know everything. There is a difference. The future that worries you is already visible to me. The answer you are searching for is already known by me. The road ahead is already familiar to me. Nothing surprises me. Nothing catches me off guard. Nothing appears on my calendar unexpectedly. While you are trying to predict tomorrow, I already stand there waiting. That truth alone should help your heart breathe easier. You are not walking toward an unknown future by yourself. You are walking toward a future where I am already present. Take a moment and release your grip. Not tomorrow. Right now. Release the need to control every outcome. Release the need to understand every detail. Release the need to force every answer. Release the need to fix everything immediately. Trust grows when control loosens its grip. And many of you have been holding so tightly that your souls have become tired. I am inviting you into something gentler, something quieter, something stronger. Trust, not blind trust, not foolish trust. Trust based upon my character. Trust built upon my faithfulness. Trust supported by every time I have carried you before. Look back. You have survived days you thought would destroy you. You have walked through valleys you thought would never end. You have endured pain you believed would break you. Yet here you are, still breathing, still moving, still standing. Not because you were strong enough, but because I was faithful enough. Remember that. The same God who carried you then is carrying you now. The same God who opened doors before can open doors again. The same God who provided yesterday can provide tomorrow. Nothing about my ability has changed. Only your perspective has become clouded by fear. Let me clear that vision today. The future is not your enemy. The future belongs to me. Your responsibility is today's obedience, today's faith, today's trust, today's gratitude. Tomorrow will arrive when it arrives. And when it does, I will already be there, waiting, guiding, helping, providing, protecting. My beloved, do not miss today's blessings because you are busy fearing tomorrow's possibilities. There is grace available right now, strength available right now, peace available right now, hope available right now. Receive it, breathe it in, allow it to settle inside your heart. And if these words are speaking directly to your situation, type, "I trust your timing." Let those words become a prayer. Let them become a declaration against fear. And stay with me until the end of this message series, because each step forward will help you recognize the burdens that have been draining your strength and the peace that has been waiting for you all along. Remember this before you leave today. You do not need tomorrow's strength for today's journey. When tomorrow arrives, the strength will arrive with it. And when that moment comes, you will discover once again that I was already there waiting for you. Pause for a moment. Before you continue rushing through this day, before you check another notification, before you replay another worry in your mind, stop and listen. Because there is something important I want you to hear. The answer you have been waiting for may already be speaking. The problem is not that I have been silent. The problem is that fear has been louder. For a long time, you have been expecting me to speak through dramatic moments. You have been looking for signs that shake the ground. You have been waiting for a sudden breakthrough that removes every doubt. You have been hoping for an unmistakable announcement that instantly settles every question inside your heart. But, my beloved, that is not usually how I speak. The world shouts, fear shouts, anxiety shouts, pressure shouts, deadlines shout, social media shouts, opinions shout. The voice of fear never whispers. It demands attention. It interrupts peace. It pushes urgency. It creates panic. It tells you that every problem requires an immediate solution. It convinces you that if you do not solve everything right now, disaster is waiting around the corner. And because fear is loud, many people mistake it for wisdom. But fear is not wisdom. Fear is noise. Wisdom is often quieter. My voice is often gentler. That is why so many people miss it. You keep listening for thunder while I am speaking through a whisper. You keep searching for fireworks while I am lighting a small lamp. You keep waiting for the mountain to move while I am strengthening your feet for the climb. And because my methods are different from your expectations, you sometimes believe I am absent. But I have never left. Not once. I was there during the sleepless nights. I was there when the tears came unexpectedly. I was there during the drive home when nobody knew how much pain you were carrying. I was there when your heart broke. I was there when the phone call arrived. I was there when the diagnosis appeared. I was there when the relationship ended. I was there when the opportunity disappeared. I was there when the future suddenly looked uncertain. And I am still here now. You do not have to earn my presence. You do not have to prove yourself worthy of my attention. You do not have to become stronger before I come near. I am already near. Closer than you realize. Closer than your next breath. Some of you have spent years searching for peace, while overlooking the place where peace begins. Peace does not begin with circumstances. Peace begins with connection. The deeper your connection with me becomes, the less dependent you become on perfect circumstances. That does not mean life becomes easy. It means your foundation becomes stronger. Storms still come. Unexpected challenges still arrive. Disappointments still happen. Loss still hurts. Waiting still tests your patience. But when your heart is anchored in me, those storms no longer define you. The waves may rise, but they cannot own you. The wind may blow, but it cannot uproot you. The pressure may increase, but it cannot destroy what I am building inside you. That is why I want you to stop measuring my presence by your emotions. Feelings are real, but feelings are not always reliable. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will feel weak. Some days faith feels effortless. Other days faith feels like work. Some days hope fills your heart. Other days hope feels distant. Yet through every changing emotion, I remain exactly the same. My faithfulness does not rise and fall with your feelings. My love does not depend upon your mood. My commitment to you does not fluctuate. I am steady. I am constant. I am faithful. Even when your emotions are not. My beloved, many of you have developed a habit of listening to fear first. Before you pray, you listen to fear. Before you trust, you listen to fear. Before you take a step forward, you consult fear. And fear always predicts the worst. Fear says the relationship will fail. Fear says the provision will not come. Fear says the opportunity is gone forever. Fear says healing is impossible. Fear says you are alone. Fear says nothing will change. Fear says you should give up. But fear has been wrong before, hasn't it? Think about all the times fear convinced you that you would not make it, yet you did. Think about all the situations fear said would destroy you, yet here you are. Think about all the moments fear declared hopeless, yet somehow I carried you through. Fear is not a prophet. Stop treating it like one. Fear does not know your future. I do. Fear does not write your story, I do. Fear does not determine your outcome, I do. The next time anxiety begins speaking loudly, pause before believing every word it says. Ask yourself a simple question. Has fear always been right? The answer is no. Then stop giving fear authority it has not earned. Instead, bring your attention back to me. Not through complicated formulas, not through performance, not through perfection. Just honesty. Speak honestly, pray honestly, trust honestly. Tell me exactly how you feel. Tell me exactly what hurts. Tell me exactly what frightens you. Tell me exactly what you do not understand. I am not intimidated by your honesty. I welcome it. Real relationship begins where pretending ends. You do not have to impress me. You only have to come near. Many people spend years trying to appear strong while secretly falling apart. But healing begins when masks come off. Peace begins when honesty arrives. Freedom begins when surrender starts. And surrender is not weakness. Surrender is trust. Surrender is placing your burden into stronger hands. Surrender is admitting that my wisdom exceeds yours. Surrender is believing that my love is greater than your fear. That is why I keep inviting you closer. Not because I need something from you, but because I want something for you. I want peace for you. I want rest for you. I want freedom for you. I want healing for you. I want your heart to experience the security that comes from knowing you are deeply loved. Not occasionally loved, not conditionally loved, deeply loved, completely loved, constantly loved, even on your worst days, even when you fail, even when you doubt, even when you struggle. My beloved, if there is one lesson I want you to remember today, it is this. The loudest voice is not always the truest voice. Fear may shout, but my peace remains. Fear may panic, but my wisdom remains. Fear may rush, but my timing remains perfect. Fear may threaten, but my promises remain secure. So slow down. Take a breath. Make room for stillness. Because the whisper you have been searching for has been near you all along. And if these words are reaching a place inside your heart that needed encouragement today, type, I will listen for your voice. Let that declaration become your reminder this week. And stay until the end of this entire journey. Because what I am teaching you now can transform the way you face every challenge ahead. The more you learn to recognize my voice above fear, the stronger your peace will become. Remember this, fear becomes weaker when you stop feeding it your attention. And my peace becomes stronger when you give me your trust. Today, choose trust. Today, choose peace. Today, choose to listen for the whisper instead of the noise. Come closer. I want to speak to the place inside you that has become exhausted from trying to hold everything together. The part of you that feels responsible for every outcome. The part of you that believes if you stop worrying, something terrible might happen. The part of you that secretly thinks the entire future depends upon your ability to control it. My beloved, listen carefully. You are carrying responsibilities that were never assigned to you. You have been fighting battles that belong to me. You have been standing guard over situations I never asked you to protect. You have been trying to control people I never placed under your authority. You have been exhausting yourself, attempting to manage outcomes that remain beyond your reach. And because of that, your soul has become tired. Your heart has become heavy. Your mind has become crowded. Not because you are weak, but because no human being was created to carry the weight of being God. That position is already filled. And it is not yours. Many of your fears are rooted in a simple misunderstanding. You believe that carrying the burden demonstrates love. You believe that worrying proves responsibility. You believe that constant concern is evidence of commitment. But worry and responsibility are not the same thing. Love and control are not the same thing. Concern and trust are not the same thing. There is a difference. A parent may love a child deeply, but a parent cannot control every decision that child will make. A husband may love his wife deeply, but he cannot force her heart. A wife may pray for her husband faithfully, but she cannot make every choice for him. You can love, you can pray, you can support, you can encourage, but there comes a point where the burden must be placed into my hands. Because what your effort cannot accomplish, my power can. Some of you are carrying family members in your mind every hour of every day. You replay conversations. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You anticipate future disappointments. You constantly wonder what might happen next. And your mind rarely rests. Hear me clearly. Your worrying is not protecting them. Your anxiety is not guarding them. Your fear is not securing their future. I am their protector. I am their keeper. I am their provider. I am their shepherd. Trust me with the people you love. Trust me with the people you cannot fix. Trust me with the situations you cannot change. Trust me with the future you cannot see. Trust me with the outcomes you cannot control. You have been carrying them long enough. Let me carry them now. Some of you are carrying financial burdens the same way. You sit at the kitchen table running the numbers again and again. You recalculate, you reanalyze, you rehearse possibilities, you search for certainty. Yet the certainty never arrives. Only more exhaustion. My beloved, wisdom requires planning, but fear requires obsession. Learn the difference. Planning prepares. Fear consumes. Planning seeks solutions. Fear creates paralysis. Planning moves forward. Fear keeps circling the same problem. I want you to be wise, but I do not want you to be imprisoned. There is a difference. You were not created to live every day under the weight of financial terror. You were created to trust that the one who fed you yesterday remains capable of feeding you tomorrow. The provision may not arrive according to your preferred schedule, but my faithfulness has not expired. The same hand that carried you before remains stretched toward you now. Do not confuse delay with abandonment. Do not mistake waiting for absence. I am still working. Even when you cannot see movement, even when the answer feels slow, even when the path ahead remains unclear, my timing has not failed. Some of you are carrying battles inside your own heart. You are fighting memories, fighting regret, fighting shame, fighting mistakes from years ago. Every time you begin moving forward, the past pulls at your ankle. Every time hope begins growing, old guilt tries to choke it. You keep replaying chapters that I have already forgiven. You keep reopening wounds I have already healed. You keep returning to prisons whose doors I already unlocked. Why? Why do you continue carrying what I already carried to the cross? My beloved, if I have forgiven you, stop arguing with my mercy. If I have released you, stop chaining yourself. If I have covered your sin, stop digging it back up. The enemy loves reminding you of what I have already erased, but my voice is different. The enemy accuses, I restore. The enemy condemns, I redeem. The enemy shames, I heal. The enemy chains, I set free. Listen carefully to which voice you are believing, because the voice you follow will shape the direction you walk. I want you to notice something. Whenever fear speaks, it always points toward disaster. Whenever shame speaks, it always points toward failure. Whenever anxiety speaks, it always points toward catastrophe. But when I speak, even correction carries hope. Even conviction carries healing. Even discipline carries love. Because my purpose is never destruction. My purpose is restoration. That is why I keep calling you closer. Not to burden you, but to free you. Not to increase your weight, but to remove it. Not to fill your life with pressure, but to fill it with peace. My beloved, there are burdens you can carry, and there are burdens you must surrender. Carry today's obedience. Surrender tomorrow's outcome. Carry today's responsibilities. Surrender tomorrow's uncertainties. Carry today's opportunities. Surrender tomorrow's fears. Carry what I assigned. Release what I did not. Life becomes lighter when you stop picking up burdens that belong to me. Some of you have been asking for peace while refusing to release control. But peace and control cannot sit on the same throne. One must move aside. If you insist on controlling everything, peace will remain distant. If you trust me with what you cannot control, peace begins to enter. Not because every problem disappears, but because you are no longer carrying it alone. Think about how much energy you spend protecting yourself from possibilities. Imagine what could happen if that same energy was invested into trusting me instead. Imagine what could happen if every fearful thought became a prayer. Imagine what could happen if every anxious moment became an invitation to draw closer. Imagine what could happen if every burden became an opportunity for surrender. Your life would begin changing from the inside out. That transformation starts now, not next week, not next month. Now, right where you are, in the middle of your current circumstances, in the middle of your unanswered questions, in the middle of your waiting, I am inviting you to place the burden down, not forever, just for this moment. Take one thing that has been weighing on your heart, one situation, one fear, one uncertainty, one burden, and place it into my hands, not symbolically, not theoretically. Actually release it. Then allow yourself to breathe. Allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to remember that I am capable of carrying what overwhelms you. If these words are speaking directly to your heart today, type, Lord, I release this burden. Let those words become your prayer. Let those words become your act of surrender. And continue staying with me until the end of this journey. Because what lies ahead will help you discover how to walk in freedom instead of fear, trust instead of anxiety, and peace instead of pressure. Remember this truth. The battles that belong to me are safest in my hands. And the moment you release them, you create room for my peace to enter where your worry used to live. Listen to me carefully, because this truth has the power to change the way you walk through every difficult season of your life. Most people spend their lives waiting for peace to arrive after the answer. They tell themselves they will finally rest after the breakthrough comes. They will finally breathe after the problem is solved. They will finally relax after the report changes. They will finally trust after they see proof. But my beloved, that is not how my peace works. The peace I give does not wait for the answer. The peace I give often arrives before the answer. That is why it confuses the human mind. Human understanding wants evidence. Human understanding wants guarantees. Human understanding wants certainty. But my peace operates differently. My peace walks into uncertainty and remains there. My peace enters unanswered situations and stays. My peace sits beside you while the future is still unclear. That is why the world struggles to understand it. Because the world believes peace should be the result. But in my kingdom, peace becomes the companion that helps carry you toward the result. Think about all the moments in your life when you thought everything depended on a certain outcome. You believed you could not survive if things went wrong. You believed you would never recover from disappointment. You believed the future would collapse if one door closed. Yet many of those things happened, and somehow you survived. Not because the situation became easy, but because I sustained you. The strength arrived, the grace arrived, the help arrived, the peace arrived. Not always before the storm, but always inside it. You are reading these words today because my faithfulness has already carried you through more than you realize. Look back, honestly. There were moments when you thought you would never smile again, moments when grief felt too heavy, moments when fear felt overwhelming, moments when uncertainty seemed impossible to bear. Yet here you are, still breathing, still moving, still growing, still learning, still loved, still held. The same God who carried you through those valleys remains beside you now. Nothing about my faithfulness has changed. The only thing that changes is your perspective. Fear narrows your vision. Peace expands it. Fear convinces you that this problem is everything. Peace reminds you that this problem is only one chapter. Fear says the story is over. Peace reminds you that I am still writing. My beloved, one of the greatest traps anxiety creates is the belief that you must solve everything before you can rest. But rest is not the reward for solving every problem. Rest is the gift I offer while problems still exist. That truth changes everything. Because if rest only arrives after every challenge disappears, then peace becomes impossible. There will always be another challenge, another responsibility, another uncertainty, another decision, another season of waiting. Life was never designed to become completely problem-free. Instead, I created you to walk through life with me, to carry burdens together, to face uncertainty together, to endure storms together, to celebrate victories together. Relationship has always been the answer. Not perfection, not control, not certainty. Relationship. Many people ask me for peace while remaining distant from me. They want the gift without the relationship. They want the comfort without the connection. They want the blessing without the surrender. But true peace grows through closeness. The closer you walk with me, the stronger your peace becomes. Not because life gets easier, but because trust grows deeper. And trust creates stability. Think about a small child holding a loving parent's hand. The child does not understand every detail. The child cannot explain the route. The child does not know what is around every corner. Yet the child feels secure. Why? Because confidence is not based on understanding the journey. Confidence is based on trusting the one leading it. That is the kind of trust I want to build inside you. A trust that remains steady even when answers are delayed. A trust that remains strong even when circumstances feel uncertain. A trust that remains peaceful even when the future is unclear. Because my presence is greater than your uncertainty. Some of you have become experts at monitoring problems. You notice every risk, every possibility, every complication, every challenge, every obstacle. Your mind immediately searches for danger. And after years of doing this, it has become a habit. You wake up scanning for problems. You go to sleep thinking about problems. You carry them into conversations. You carry them into meals. You carry them into moments that should have been peaceful. And eventually, the burden becomes exhausting. My beloved, I did not create your mind to function as a permanent emergency alarm. Your mind was designed to receive wisdom. Your heart was designed to receive peace. Your spirit was designed to receive my presence. You cannot live well if fear becomes your constant companion. That is why I keep inviting you back to trust. Not because trust ignores reality, but because trust sees reality through the lens of my faithfulness. The problem may be real. The diagnosis may be real. The uncertainty may be real. The financial pressure may be real. The loneliness may be real. But my power is real too. My provision is real too. My presence is real too. My promises are real too. Do not focus so completely on the problem that you forget who walks beside you. Some of the strongest people in faith are not those who never face fear. They are the ones who continue trusting while fear tries to speak. They hear the anxiety, but they choose trust. They feel uncertainty, but they choose faith. They experience difficulty, but they choose surrender. And little by little, peace grows stronger, not overnight, not instantly, but steadily. The same way dawn slowly replaces darkness, the same way a seed slowly becomes a tree. The same way healing gradually restores what was wounded. Peace grows. Trust grows. Faith grows. My beloved, stop waiting for perfect conditions before you allow yourself to rest. Stop postponing joy until every answer arrives. Stop delaying gratitude until every prayer is fulfilled. There are blessings available right now. There is peace available right now. There is strength available right now. There is hope available right now. Receive it. Do not push it away while waiting for something bigger. The peace you need today may arrive as something small, a deeper breath, a calmer heart, a moment of stillness, a reminder that you are not alone. Do not underestimate small gifts. Many of my greatest works begin quietly. If these words are speaking to your heart, type, "I receive your peace today." Let that declaration become a reminder that peace is available before the answer arrives. And stay with me until the end of this journey, because what you are learning now can help transform the way you approach every challenge, every uncertainty, and every season of waiting. If these messages are helping your life, strengthening your faith, and bringing peace into your daily walk, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs encouragement today. And if this ministry has blessed you and you feel led to help support the work, you can do so through the link provided below. Your support helps these messages reach hearts that desperately need hope. Remember this truth: you do not need to wait for the answer to experience peace, because my peace was never designed to follow the answer. My peace was designed to help carry you toward it. Come closer. There is something I want to show you today. Something that may explain a tiredness you have been carrying for longer than you realize. You keep telling yourself that if you just work a little harder, things will finally settle down. If you just think a little more, you will find the answer. If you just stay alert a little longer, you can prevent something bad from happening. If you just keep pushing, eventually you will arrive at peace. But my beloved, that is not what has been happening. You have been pushing and pushing and pushing, yet peace still feels distant, rest still feels temporary, and exhaustion keeps finding its way back. Do you know why? Because much of your tiredness is not coming from physical work. It is coming from emotional weight. It is coming from carrying invisible burdens. Burdens nobody else can see. Burdens hidden beneath your responsibilities. Burdens hidden beneath your smiles. Burdens hidden beneath your routines. You wake up carrying them. You drive carrying them. You work carrying them. You eat carrying them. You sleep carrying them. And eventually, your soul becomes exhausted. Some of you are not tired because you did too much today. You are tired because you have been carrying fear for years. You have been carrying uncertainty for years. You have been carrying disappointment for years. You have been carrying pressure for years. And every burden leaves a mark. Every burden consumes energy. Every burden takes strength, even when nobody else notices. I notice. I see the mother who worries about her children every day. I see the father who feels responsible for everyone around him. I see the person who smiles publicly but struggles privately. I see the one who feels overwhelmed but keeps pretending everything is fine. I see the one who feels alone in a crowded room. I see the one who has become so used to carrying pressure that they no longer remember what peace feels like. I see you, and I am speaking directly to you now. You were never designed to live in constant survival mode. Your body was not created to remain on high alert every hour of every day. Your heart was not designed to live under permanent pressure. Your mind was not created to process endless worry. Yet many of you have spent so long surviving that you have forgotten how to rest. Even when opportunities for rest appear, your thoughts continue running. Even when the room becomes quiet, your mind remains loud. Even when nothing is wrong in the moment, your heart prepares for something to go wrong next. My beloved, listen carefully. The danger has become a habit. The fear has become familiar. The vigilance has become automatic. And because it feels familiar, you mistake it for necessary. But not everything familiar is healthy. Some habits were developed in seasons you have already survived. Some defenses were built for dangers that no longer exist. Some walls remain standing long after the threat has disappeared. I understand why they were built. I understand the pain that created them. I understand the disappointments that shaped them. I understand the wounds that made them feel necessary. But I also know they are keeping peace from reaching places inside you that desperately need healing. That is why I'm inviting you into something different. Not more striving, not more pressure, not more performance. Rest. Real rest. The kind of rest that begins in the soul. The kind of rest that comes from trust. The kind of rest that grows when you finally stop carrying everything alone. Many people believe rest is something earned. They think they must finish every task first, solve every problem first, answer every question first, complete every responsibility first. Then they will rest. But there is always another task, another responsibility, another challenge, another concern. If rest depends on the absence of responsibility, very few people will ever experience it. The rest I offer is different. The rest I offer exists in the middle of responsibility. The rest I offer exists during uncertainty. The rest I offer exists while life is still unfolding. Because true rest does not come from finished circumstances. It comes from trusted companionship. When you know I am with you, the burden changes, the pressure changes, the fear changes. Not because the situation disappears, but because you are no longer carrying it by yourself. Think about a traveler carrying a heavy load up a mountain. The journey remains difficult. The path remains steep. The distance remains long. But if someone stronger comes alongside and helps carry the weight, everything changes. The road is still there. The climb is still real, yet the burden becomes lighter. That is what my presence does. I do not always remove the mountain immediately. Sometimes I help you climb it. Sometimes I strengthen your legs. Sometimes I steady your footing. Sometimes I carry the weight with you. And often that becomes the greater miracle, because the greatest miracle is not always escape. Sometimes the greatest miracle is discovering you are stronger than you thought, because I was beside you the entire time. My beloved, there is another reason many of you feel exhausted. You have been trying to earn what I freely give. You are trying to earn peace, trying to earn approval, trying to earn worth, trying to earn acceptance, trying to earn love. But my love was never a reward. It was always a gift. You do not have to prove your value to me. You already have value. You do not have to perform for my attention. You already have my attention. You do not have to become perfect before I draw near. I am already near. Many of your struggles come from believing you must become someone else before you are worthy of rest. But my beloved, I am speaking to you exactly where you are, not where you hope to be, not where you used to be, not where others think you should be, where you are, right now. In your current circumstances, in your current questions, in your current season, you are still loved. You are still seen. You are still known. You are still held. And because of that, you can rest. Not because everything is solved, but because you belong to me. If these words are reaching a tired place inside your heart, type, "I will rest in your presence." Let those words become a reminder throughout the coming days, and continue watching until the very end of this journey, because the lessons ahead may help you break free from burdens that have drained your strength for years and discover a deeper peace than you ever thought possible. Remember this truth today: you do not have to carry the future. You do not have to carry everyone else. You do not have to carry every answer. Carry today's step and allow me to carry the weight that was never meant to belong to you. Pause for a moment. Slow down. Take one deep breath and listen carefully to what I am about to tell you, because this truth has the power to change the way you pray, the way you wait, and the way you understand what I am doing in your life. Many of you have been asking me for one specific answer, one specific outcome, one specific breakthrough, one specific solution. And because that answer has not arrived yet, you have concluded that nothing is happening. You have concluded that I am silent. You have concluded that I am distant. You have concluded that your prayers are being ignored. But, my beloved, what if the answer you keep chasing is not actually your deepest need? What if there is something greater I am trying to give you? Many people come to me asking for a changed circumstance. And while they are focused on the circumstance, I am focused on the heart. They ask for immediate relief. I begin building lasting strength. They ask for a quick solution. I begin creating deeper trust. They ask for an open door. I begin preparing them for what waits beyond the door. They ask for the storm to disappear. I begin teaching them how to stand during storms. Neither approach is wrong, but mine sees further. You see the next step. I see the entire journey. You see today's struggle. I see the future I am preparing. You see the current chapter. I see the complete story. That is why my timing sometimes feels confusing. Because I am working from a perspective larger than your present moment. Some of you are asking why the answer has taken so long, why the breakthrough has not arrived, why the opportunity remains delayed, why the healing seems slow, why the relationship has not changed, why the situation remains unresolved. And while those questions are understandable, I want you to consider something. What if this season is not only about the answer? What if it is also about who you are becoming? What if the waiting is producing something valuable? What if the process is preparing you for what the answer will require? Think about a tree. The visible growth above the ground receives attention. People admire the branches. People notice the leaves. People appreciate the fruit. But before any of that appears, roots are growing in secret. Deep roots, strong roots, hidden roots. Without those roots, the future growth could never survive. The same is true in your life. Much of my work happens beneath the surface, long before others can see it, long before you can measure it, long before the results become obvious. And because the growth is hidden, you sometimes assume nothing is happening. But roots are growing, strength is growing, faith is growing, character is growing, trust is growing. The process may feel slow, but it is not empty. My beloved, one of the greatest mistakes people make during seasons of waiting is assuming that waiting means wasting. Waiting is not wasting. Waiting is preparation. Waiting is development. Waiting is growth. Waiting is often where the deepest transformation happens. You see waiting as inactivity. I see waiting as construction. You see delay. I see preparation. You see silence. I see foundations being built. Imagine trying to construct a building without creating a foundation first. The building might rise quickly, but it would never last. The higher the building, the deeper the foundation must be. The greater the calling, the deeper the preparation. The greater the blessing, the stronger the character required to sustain it. That is why some answers arrive later than you expected, not because I have forgotten you, not because I do not care, but because I love you enough to prepare you properly. I am not interested in giving you something that will ultimately harm you. I want to give you something that can bless you, something you can sustain, something that aligns with my purpose for your life. And sometimes that requires preparation. Some of you are becoming discouraged because you keep comparing your timeline to someone else's. You look around and wonder why others seem to move ahead faster, why others appear blessed sooner, why others seem to receive answers more quickly. But comparison has been stealing your peace, because you are measuring your journey against people whose assignment is different, whose preparation is different, whose timing is different, whose purpose is different. My beloved, stop looking sideways. Look upward. Trust the path I have placed before you. Trust the pace I have chosen for you. Trust the timing I am unfolding for you. Comparison creates frustration. Trust creates peace. You do not know everything I am protecting you from. You do not know every closed door that saved you from future pain. You do not know every delay that preserved you from unnecessary harm. You do not know every unseen battle I have already fought on your behalf. One day, you will understand more. But today requires trust, not complete understanding. Trust. There are blessings you celebrate today that once arrived disguised as disappointments. There are victories you now enjoy that began as painful delays. There are answers you now appreciate because they arrived at the right time rather than your preferred time. You may not see it yet, but my timing contains wisdom. Even when it feels frustrating, even when it feels confusing, even when it feels slow. My beloved, I want you to stop chasing certainty and start embracing trust. Certainty belongs to me. Trust belongs to you. You do not need to know every detail. You do not need to understand every reason. You do not need to predict every outcome. You only need to keep taking the next faithful step. One step, then another, then another. That is how faith grows. That is how peace grows. That is how trust grows. Not through perfect understanding, but through continued surrender. And one day, when you look back on this season, you may discover that what felt like a delay was actually protection. What felt like silence was actually preparation. What felt like waiting was actually transformation. If these words are speaking directly to your heart today, type, "I trust what you are preparing." Let those words become a declaration over your season of waiting. And stay with me until the end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you recognize the hidden ways I have been working in your life, even when you thought nothing was happening. Remember this truth. The answer you are waiting for matters, but the person you are becoming while you wait matters too. And I have been working on both. Before you continue, stop for a moment, because there is a lie that has been quietly stealing your peace. A lie that has visited many hearts. A lie that sounds convincing when prayers remain unanswered. A lie that grows louder during seasons of waiting. A lie that often appears when life becomes difficult. The lie is this: God has forgotten me. My beloved, listen carefully. That lie has never been true. Not once. Not for a single moment. Not during your hardest season. Not during your darkest night. Not during your longest wait. Not during your deepest disappointment. I have not forgotten you. I know there are moments when it feels that way. Moments when you pray and hear no immediate answer. Moments when you ask for direction and the path still seems unclear. Moments when you look around and everyone else appears to be moving forward while you remain standing in the same place. Moments when your heart quietly wonders if I still see you. I do. I always have. I always will. There has never been a day when you slipped from my attention. There has never been a night when I stopped watching over you. There has never been a prayer that disappeared into empty space. There has never been a tear that went unnoticed. I know every detail of your journey. The details nobody else sees. The struggles nobody else understands. The fears you never speak aloud. The disappointments you carry privately. The hopes you protect because you are afraid they might never happen. I know them all, and I am still here. Many people mistake silence for absence. They assume that if they cannot see immediate evidence, nothing is happening. But some of my greatest works happen where human eyes cannot see. Roots grow underground. Healing begins beneath the surface. Preparation often happens in secret. The strongest foundations are built out of sight. You judge progress by what is visible. I often work through what is invisible. That is why faith becomes necessary, because faith trusts before proof appears. Faith continues walking before the destination becomes visible. Faith believes. My heart, even when circumstances seem confusing. My beloved, think about all the times in your life when you later realized I was protecting you. At first, you saw disappointment, Later, you saw wisdom. At first, you saw a closed door. Later, you saw protection. At first, you saw delay. Later, you saw preparation. At first, you saw loss. Later, you discovered redirection. You understand more now than you did then. And one day, you will understand more than you do now. But until that day arrives, trust remains essential. Trust is what allows peace to survive during uncertainty. Without trust, every delay becomes frightening. Without trust, every unanswered question becomes overwhelming. Without trust, every closed door feels permanent. But when trust grows, perspective changes. You begin seeing my hand even before you understand my plan. Some of you have become discouraged because the answer has taken longer than expected. You thought it would happen by now. You expected different circumstances. You imagined a different timeline. You planned a different outcome. And because reality unfolded differently, disappointment entered your heart. My beloved, disappointment is real. I am not asking you to pretend otherwise. I am not asking you to ignore your feelings. I am not asking you to deny your pain. Bring those feelings to me. Bring the disappointment. Bring the frustration. Bring the questions. Bring the confusion. Real relationship includes honesty. You do not have to hide your emotions from me. I already know them. What I want is your trust in the middle of them. Trust that my wisdom exceeds yours. Trust that my timing contains purpose. Trust that my love remains constant. Trust that I am still working, even now. Especially now. There are things being arranged that you cannot yet see. Conversations happening that you know nothing about. Doors being prepared. People being positioned. Circumstances being aligned. Lessons being learned. Strength being developed. Character being formed. Opportunities being created. You see the waiting. I see the preparation. You see the delay. I see the development. You see the unanswered prayer. I see the unfolding answer. The story is not finished. Do not judge the entire journey from one chapter. Some of you are carrying dreams that feel forgotten. Dreams you prayed about years ago. Dreams that once filled your heart with excitement. Dreams that now seem distant. Dreams you have almost stopped believing for. Hear me carefully. If I planted something meaningful in your heart, I have not forgotten it. I am not careless with the things I place inside my children. Not every dream comes from me, but the ones that do are not abandoned. They may require patience, they may require growth, they may require preparation, but they are not forgotten. Neither are you. My beloved, there is another reason you sometimes feel forgotten. You keep comparing your behind-the-scenes season to someone else's highlight moment. You see their success. You see their blessing. You see their breakthrough. But you do not see their preparation. You do not see their struggles. You do not see their private battles. Comparison creates unnecessary pain, because comparison removes context. And when context disappears, discouragement grows. Stay focused on your path. Stay focused on your assignment. Stay focused on your relationship with me. The journey I designed for you does not need to look like anyone else's. Your purpose is unique. Your preparation is unique. Your timing is unique. Trust me enough to walk your own path, one step at a time. My beloved, if you feel forgotten today, let me remind you of something. A shepherd does not forget the sheep. A father does not forget his child. A creator does not forget what he lovingly formed. And I have called you mine. That truth has not changed. Not because of your circumstances, not because of your emotions, not because of your doubts. It remains true because my love remains true. And my love does not change with the weather of your life. If these words are speaking directly into your situation today, type, I know you have not forgotten me. Let those words become a declaration against discouragement. Let them become a reminder during moments when waiting feels difficult. And continue watching until the end of this journey, because the truths ahead may help you recognize the ways I have been working in your life all along, even during seasons when you thought nothing was happening. Remember this truth. You may not understand everything I am doing, but you are never forgotten. You are never unseen. You are never abandoned. And you are never beyond the reach of my love. Come closer. There is something I want to show you today. Something that fear has been trying to hide from you. Something your anxious thoughts do not want you to remember. Something your worries often drown beneath their noise. You were never created to carry life alone. Not emotionally, not spiritually, not mentally, not physically. Yet many of you have spent years trying to do exactly that. You have been carrying burdens in silence, carrying fears in silence, carrying disappointments in silence, carrying grief in silence, carrying uncertainty in silence. And the weight has become heavier than you expected. At first it seemed manageable. At first it felt like something you could handle. At first you convinced yourself that if you just stayed strong, everything would eventually improve. But over time, the burden grew. And now there are days when you feel tired before the day even begins. Days when your heart feels heavy without a clear reason. Days when your thoughts seem louder than your peace. Days when your future feels larger than your faith. My beloved, listen carefully. Fear grows strongest in isolation. Fear loves secrecy. Fear thrives in darkness. Fear gains power when it remains unchallenged. That is why the enemy wants you to believe that you must carry everything by yourself. He wants you to think nobody understands, nobody cares, nobody sees, nobody knows. But those thoughts are not from me. I have never asked you to walk alone. I have never required you to carry every burden by yourself. I have never expected you to solve every problem before coming to me. In fact, I've invited you to do the opposite. Bring the burden. Bring the fear. Bring the uncertainty. Bring the confusion. Bring the questions. Bring the pain. Bring everything. Do not clean it up first. Do not organize it first. Do not make it sound spiritual first. Just bring it. Many people think prayer is about finding perfect words. But prayer has never been about perfection. Prayer is about connection. Prayer is the moment when a tired heart stops pretending. Prayer is the moment when a weary soul tells the truth. Prayer is the moment when fear finally releases its grip enough for trust to enter. That is why some of the most powerful prayers are also the simplest. Help me. I am tired. I am afraid. I do not understand. I need you. Those prayers reach me just as surely as any other. My beloved, I already know what is inside your heart. Prayer does not inform me. Prayer connects you to me. Prayer opens the door. Prayer creates space. Prayer shifts the burden. Prayer reminds your soul that it was never meant to carry everything alone. Some of you have become so accustomed to carrying heavy loads that you no longer recognize how exhausted you are. You have normalized stress, normalized pressure, normalized anxiety, normalized emotional exhaustion. You have learned to function while tired, smile while hurting, work while overwhelmed, serve while depleted, give while running empty. But functioning is not the same as thriving. Surviving is not the same as living. I created you for more than survival. I created you for peace, not perfect circumstances. Peace, not a problem. Free life. Peace, not constant certainty. Peace, the kind of peace that remains steady even when circumstances change. The kind of peace that stays when answers are delayed. The kind of peace that survives storms. That peace becomes possible when burdens are shared. Think about a child carrying a backpack that is too heavy. The child struggles. The child slows down. The child becomes tired. But when a loving parent lifts part of the weight, the journey changes. The road remains the same. The distance remains the same. Yet everything feels lighter. That is what happens when you trust me with your burdens. The road may remain. The challenge may remain. The waiting may remain. But the weight changes. Because now you are not carrying it alone. Some of you have spent years trying to protect yourselves from future pain. You constantly prepare for worst-case scenarios. You rehearse disappointments before they happen. You imagine losses before they occur. You build emotional defenses against possibilities. And while you believe these habits keep you safe, they are actually stealing today's peace. My beloved, fear promises protection, but often delivers exhaustion. Trust may feel risky, but trust leads to freedom. Fear says, carry everything. I say, come to me. Fear says, handle it alone. I say, walk with me. Fear says, stay worried. I say, rest. Fear says, you are responsible for everything. I say, you are responsible for obedience, not outcomes. That difference matters, because outcomes belong to me. Results belong to me. The future belongs to me. Your responsibility is faithfulness. My responsibility is provision. Your responsibility is trust. My responsibility is guidance. Your responsibility is obedience. My responsibility is the outcome. Stop accepting responsibilities I never assigned to you. The burden is crushing you because it was never designed for your shoulders. Release it. Not once. Not occasionally. Daily. Sometimes hourly. Sometimes minute by minute. Because surrender is not a one-time decision. It is a lifestyle. A repeated choice. A daily invitation. A continual act of trust. And every time you choose trust over fear, peace grows a little stronger. Every time you surrender instead of control, freedom grows a little deeper. Every time you bring the burden to me, your soul becomes a little lighter. My beloved, one day you will realize how many battles I fought for you without your knowledge, how many dangers never reached you, how many closed doors protected you, how many delays preserved you, how many unseen mercies surrounded your life. But until that day arrives, trust remains the bridge between fear and peace. Walk that bridge with me, one step at a time, one prayer at a time, one surrender at a time. If these words are reaching your heart today, type, I will not carry this alone. Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder throughout the coming days. And stay with me until the end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you discover the freedom that comes when fear loses its authority and trust becomes your foundation. Remember this truth. The burden becomes lighter the moment you stop carrying it by yourself, and I have been waiting with open hands all along. Come closer. There is something I need you to understand today, because many of you have been searching for peace in places where peace was never meant to be found. You have been looking for peace in circumstances, peace in money, peace in relationships, peace in success, peace in certainty, peace in having every question answered. And every time those things change, your peace changes with them. When circumstances improve, you feel secure. When circumstances become difficult, you feel afraid. When life feels predictable, you feel calm. When life becomes uncertain, anxiety returns. My beloved, that is not the kind of peace I came to give you. The peace I offer is stronger than circumstances. The peace I offer survives uncertainty. The peace I offer remains standing when everything around you feels unstable. Because my peace is not built upon what happens around you. It is built upon who remains with you. And I remain. Always. Many people think peace means the absence of conflict, the absence of problems, the absence of challenges, the absence of pain. But if that were true, very few people would ever experience peace, because life contains challenges, life contains uncertainty, life contains loss, life contains waiting, life contains moments you cannot control. My peace was never designed for perfect conditions. My peace was designed for real life, for real struggles, for real questions, for real fears, for real people, people just like you. That is why I want you to stop measuring peace by what is happening around you. Instead, measure peace by who is standing beside you. When a child walks through a dark room holding a loving parent's hand, the darkness may still exist, but fear loses some of its power. Why? Because presence changes everything. The room remains dark, yet the child feels safer. The uncertainty remains, yet the child feels stronger. The situation has not changed, but companionship has. That is what my presence does. I do not always remove every challenge immediately, but I walk with you through them. I strengthen you within them. I sustain you during them. And often that becomes the greater gift. My beloved, many of you spend enormous amounts of energy guarding your own hearts. You guard against disappointment, guard against rejection, guard against failure, guard against loss, guard against heartbreak, guard against uncertainty. You stay alert. You stay prepared. You stay watchful. Because you believe if you remain vigilant enough, you can prevent pain. But constant vigilance creates exhaustion. You were never meant to be your own security system. You were never meant to stand watch every hour of every day. You were never designed to carry that responsibility. That is why my peace exists. My peace stands guard where your strength ends. My peace watches when you cannot. My peace remains awake when you are tired. My peace protects places inside you that fear constantly tries to invade. Think about a city protected by strong walls and faithful guards. The people inside can rest because someone else is watching. The people inside can sleep because someone else is standing at the gate. The people inside do not have to remain awake all night. The responsibility belongs to the guard. My beloved, my peace is like that guard. While you are worrying, my peace is already standing watch. While you are trying to predict tomorrow, my peace is already present there. While you are exhausting yourself preparing for every possibility, my peace is reminding you that I remain in control. You do not have to supervise what I am already managing. You do not have to carry what I am already holding. You do not have to guard what I am already protecting. Some of you are carrying emotional wounds from seasons that changed you. Perhaps trust was broken. Perhaps someone walked away. Perhaps words were spoken that left scars. Perhaps disappointment arrived where hope once lived. And because of that pain, you built walls around your heart. You promised yourself you would never be hurt again. You promised yourself you would never trust so deeply again. You promised yourself you would stay protected. But those walls that once felt necessary are now keeping peace from entering. My beloved, healing requires courage. Healing requires trust. Healing requires surrender. Not because you can guarantee nobody will ever hurt you again, but because you trust me enough to protect your heart even when life remains uncertain. I know what happened. I know the pain. I know the disappointment. I know the tears. I know the questions. And I am not asking you to pretend those things never mattered. I am asking you to trust that they do not define your future. Your wounds are part of your story, but they are not the entire story. I am still writing. I am still healing. I am still restoring. I am still working. Many of you keep checking your circumstances to determine whether peace should be present. You wake up and immediately examine the problems, the bills, the relationships, the responsibilities, the unanswered questions, and then you decide whether peace is allowed. But my beloved, peace was never supposed to depend on the daily report. Peace depends on me, and I have not changed. The same God who carried you through previous storms remains beside you today. The same God who protected you before remains faithful now. The same God who provided yesterday remains capable of providing tomorrow. Nothing about my ability has weakened. Nothing about my love has diminished. Nothing about my faithfulness has changed. The only question is whether you will trust me enough to rest, not because everything is solved, but because I am present. My beloved, there are people listening right now who desperately need to hear this. You do not have to stay in survival mode forever. You do not have to spend every day preparing for disaster. You do not have to live under the constant pressure of fear. There is another way, a quieter way, a gentler way, a stronger way. Trust. The kind of trust that allows your shoulders to relax, the kind of trust that allows your breathing to slow, the kind of trust that reminds your soul that it is safe in my hands. If these words are speaking directly into your life today, type, "My heart is safe with you." Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder during difficult moments. And continue watching until the very end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you experience a deeper peace than you have known before, and recognize the ways I have been protecting you all along. If these messages are helping your heart, strengthening your faith, and bringing peace into your daily life, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs encouragement. And if you feel blessed by this ministry and would like to help these messages reach more people around the world, you can support the ministry through the link provided below. Remember this truth: you were never meant to stand guard over your heart alone. My peace has been standing at the gate all along, and it has never left its post. Come closer. I want to speak to the fear you rarely talk about, the fear hidden beneath your daily routines, the fear that visits when the room becomes quiet, the fear that appears during sleepless nights, the fear that sits behind your questions, the fear you try not to think about because it feels too heavy. My beloved, I know exactly what it is. I know the situation that keeps returning to your thoughts. I know the uncertainty you keep revisiting. I know the outcome you desperately hope to avoid. I know the future you are trying to prepare for. I know the burden that feels larger than your strength. And today I want you to hear something clearly. The thing you fear most has not escaped my hands. Not for a moment, not for a second, not even now. Many of you have allowed fear to convince you that everything depends on your ability to stay alert. Fear tells you that if you stop worrying, you will lose control. Fear tells you that constant anxiety is necessary. Fear tells you that vigilance is protection. Fear tells you that rest is dangerous. But, my beloved, fear has been making promises it cannot keep. Fear cannot protect you. Fear cannot guide you. Fear cannot provide for you. Fear cannot secure your future. Fear can only exhaust you. Think about how much energy fear has taken from your life. Hours spent worrying, nights spent overthinking, days spent imagining outcomes, moments spent rehearsing conversations, years spent preparing for possibilities that never arrived. Fear promised safety, but delivered exhaustion. That is why I am inviting you into something different. Not ignorance, not denial, not pretending challenges do not exist. Trust. The kind of trust that allows you to breathe while the answer is still unfolding. The kind of trust that remains steady while circumstances are uncertain. The kind of trust that remembers who I am even when you do not understand what I am doing. Because my character has not changed. I am still faithful, still present, still powerful, still loving, still working. Some of you have been carrying a specific burden for so long that it has become part of your identity. You no longer describe yourself without mentioning the struggle. You no longer imagine life without the worry. You no longer remember what peace felt like before the burden arrived. But my beloved, you are more than your fear. You are more than your anxiety. You are more than your diagnosis. You are more than your disappointment. You are more than your failure. You are more than your current season. The burden is part of your experience. It is not your identity. The struggle is part of the story. It is not the entire story. I see a future beyond what currently troubles you. I see possibilities beyond what currently frightens you. I see healing beyond what currently hurts you. I see growth beyond what currently challenges you. That is why I continue asking you to trust me. Not because trust is easy, but because trust keeps your heart connected to truth, while fear tries to pull it toward hopelessness. My beloved, there are moments when life feels fragile. Moments when answers feel distant. moments when the future feels uncertain, moments when your strength feels limited. Those moments do not surprise me. I knew they would come, and I prepared grace for them before they arrived. You often ask for strength before the challenge appears, but strength usually arrives with a challenge. You ask for courage before the situation develops, but courage often appears during the situation. You ask for peace before the uncertainty begins, but peace frequently grows inside uncertainty. That is why looking too far ahead creates anxiety. You are trying to calculate future grace using today's perspective. You are trying to measure future strength using today's resources. You are trying to understand tomorrow without tomorrow's help. My beloved, when tomorrow arrives, the grace will arrive too. When the challenge appears, the strength will appear too. When the need develops, the provision will appear too. The same God who carried you before will carry you again. Remember how many times you thought you would not make it. Remember how many moments seemed impossible. Remember how many chapters looked hopeless. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still moving forward, not because you had all the answers, but because I remained faithful. That same faithfulness surrounds you today. Some of you keep asking, what if everything goes wrong? But let me ask you a different question. What if I remain faithful? What if I continue providing? What if I continue guiding? What if I continue protecting? What if I continue carrying you? Because that is exactly what I have done throughout your entire life. Fear always asks the wrong questions. Fear asks what could go wrong. Faith remembers who remains right. Fear focuses on possibilities. Faith focuses on promises. Fear imagines disaster. Faith remembers my character. That is why trust changes everything. Not because trust removes every challenge, but because trust changes who carries the burden. My beloved, there is a freedom that comes when you stop trying to predict every outcome. There is a peace that comes when you stop trying to manage every possibility. There is a rest that comes when you stop acting as though the future depends entirely upon you, because it never did. The future rests in my hands, and my hands do not fail. If these words are speaking directly to your heart today, type, I trust you with my future. Let those words become a declaration over every fear that has been troubling your heart. And stay with me until the end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you discover how to live with greater peace, deeper trust, and stronger faith than ever before. Remember this truth: the thing you fear most is not bigger than me. The situation you worry about is not beyond my reach. The future you cannot see is already visible to me, and I am already there. Come closer. There is something I want to free you from today, something that has been stealing your peace without you even realizing it. The belief that you must have everything figured out before you can rest. The belief that you must understand every detail before you can trust. The belief that you must solve every problem before you can experience peace. My beloved, listen carefully. You were never meant to carry that responsibility. You were never created to understand everything. You were never designed to know every outcome. You were never assigned the task of controlling the future. That assignment belongs to me. Yet many of you have been exhausting yourselves, trying to do my job. You analyze, you calculate, you predict, you rehearse, you prepare. And then you prepare some more. Not because you are foolish, not because you are weak, but because somewhere along the journey, you began believing that understanding everything would make you feel safe. So you search for answers. You search for explanations. You search for certainty. And when certainty does not arrive, anxiety takes its place. My beloved, certainty is not where peace is found. Peace is found in trust. Because certainty depends upon knowing what will happen. Trust depends upon knowing who is with you. And knowing me is stronger than knowing the future. Think about how many things in your life once felt impossible to understand. Situations that confused you, losses that hurt you, delays that frustrated you, closed doors that disappointed you. At the time, they made no sense. You questioned them, you resisted them, you worried about them. Yet later, many of those moments revealed their purpose. Later, you saw what I was protecting you from. Later, you understood why the timing mattered. Later, you recognized blessings hidden inside disappointments. What changed? Not the event. Your perspective. Time revealed what anxiety could not. And the same may be true about the situation you are facing now. There are things you cannot see yet, pieces of the puzzle still hidden, details still unfolding, lessons still developing, opportunities still forming. That is why trust becomes necessary. Trust carries you where understanding cannot. Some of you are delaying peace until you receive answers. You tell yourself, when I know what is happening, I will relax. When I know how this ends, I will rest. When I understand the future, I will trust. But my beloved, if trust waits for complete understanding, then trust never truly develops. Trust grows precisely where understanding ends. Trust begins where certainty stops. Trust is the bridge between what you know and what only I know. That bridge has carried my children for generations. It carried them through deserts, through storms, through prisons, through disappointments, through waiting seasons, through impossible situations. And it will carry you too. Many of you have become trapped inside endless questions. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if things get worse? What if the answer never comes? What if the door stays closed? What if the situation changes? What if I fail? What if I lose? What if I am not enough? My beloved, fear lives inside. What if? But peace lives inside, even if the path becomes difficult, I remain with you. Even if the answer takes longer, I remain faithful. Even if circumstances change, I remain constant. Even if challenges arise, I remain your strength. Even if the future feels uncertain, I remain in control. That perspective changes everything, because fear keeps demanding guarantees. Faith remembers promises. Fear demands explanations. Faith embraces trust. Fear insists on knowing. Faith learns to walk. And every step of faith strengthens your soul. You do not need all the answers today. You only need enough light for the next step. Think about walking through a dark path at night, carrying a small lamp. The lamp does not illuminate the entire journey. It does not reveal every turn. It does not show every mile ahead. But it reveals enough for the next step. Then the next. Then the next. That is how my guidance often works. I rarely reveal the entire journey. I reveal the next step. Because if I showed you everything at once, it would overwhelm you. Instead, I teach you trust. Step by step, day by day, season by season. My beloved, some of you are carrying pressure because you think one wrong decision will ruin everything. You are terrified of making mistakes, terrified of choosing incorrectly, terrified of missing my will. Hear me carefully. I am a better shepherd than you are a sheep. I am fully capable of guiding a heart that genuinely seeks me. Your future is not hanging by a fragile thread. My plans are not so weak that one imperfect decision can destroy them. Stop living in fear of every choice. Bring your decisions to me. Seek wisdom. Pray sincerely. Then move forward in faith. I know how to direct your steps. I know how to open doors. I know how to redirect paths. I know how to guide those who trust me. You do not need to live terrified of missing me. I am not hiding from you. I am leading you. My beloved, there is freedom waiting on the other side of surrender. Freedom from needing every answer. Freedom from needing complete certainty. Freedom from carrying responsibilities that belong to me. freedom from trying to predict every outcome. The more you trust me, the lighter the burden becomes. The more you surrender, the deeper the peace grows. The more you walk with me, the less fear controls your decisions. That freedom is available today, not after everything is solved. Today, right here, in the middle of your questions, in the middle of your waiting, in the middle of your uncertainty. Because peace does not require complete understanding. Peace requires trust. If these words are speaking directly into your heart today, type, "I will trust even when I do not understand." Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder when questions try to overwhelm you. And continue watching until the very end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you discover how to walk with confidence, even when the future remains unclear. Remember this truth: you do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need every answer. You do not need complete certainty. You only need to keep walking with me, and I will guide the rest. Come closer. There is something I want you to understand about the season you are in right now, because many of you have mistaken quietness for abandonment. You have mistaken waiting for failure. You have mistaken stillness for inactivity, and because of that, discouragement has slowly entered your heart. My beloved, listen carefully. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Just because you cannot hear immediate answers does not mean I am silent. Just because the season feels quiet does not mean I have stepped away. In fact, some of my most important work happens during the quiet seasons. The world celebrates visible progress. The world celebrates public victories. The world celebrates immediate results. But my kingdom often works differently. The roots grow before the fruit appears. The foundation is built before the house rises. Preparation comes before promotion. Character develops before influence expands. And because much of that process happens out of sight, many people assume nothing is happening. But something is happening. More than you realize. Some of you have been praying for a breakthrough, and every day you look for evidence. Every day you search for signs. Every day you examine your circumstances. Every day you ask yourself whether anything has changed. When nothing obvious appears, disappointment grows. But my beloved, your life is not measured only by visible results. There are changes happening inside you. Changes that matter. Changes that last. Changes that will support blessings that have not yet arrived. Your patience is growing. Your faith is growing. Your wisdom is growing. Your dependence on me is growing. Your strength is growing. Your ability to trust is growing. And all of that matters. And all of that matters more than you currently understand. Think about a seed placed deep in the ground. For a long time, nothing appears above the surface. No leaves, no branches, no fruit, no visible evidence. If someone judged the process only by appearances, they would assume the seed had failed. Yet beneath the surface, life is developing. Roots are expanding. Strength is forming. Preparation is happening. The invisible work comes first. The visible growth follows. The same is true for many of you right now. You are judging the season by what you can see. I am working through what you cannot see. My beloved, do not despise quiet seasons. Quiet seasons often teach lessons. Noisy seasons cannot. When everything is moving quickly, you often rely upon momentum. But during quiet seasons, you learn trust. During quiet seasons, you learn patience. During quiet seasons, you learn how to hear my voice more clearly. During quiet seasons, you learn that my presence is enough. Many of you keep asking for bigger things while overlooking the valuable things I am already doing. You are focused on the destination. I am focused on preparation. You are focused on arrival. I am focused on transformation. You are focused on the answer. I am focused on the heart. Neither is unimportant, but one must come before the other, because blessings without preparation often become burdens. Opportunities without wisdom often become problems. Influence without character often becomes destruction. That is why preparation matters. That is why these seasons matter. That is why your waiting is not wasted. Some of you are becoming frustrated because others seem to be moving faster. Others seem to be succeeding. Others seem to be receiving breakthroughs. Others seem to be experiencing answered prayers. Meanwhile, your situation feels unchanged. My beloved, stop measuring your journey against someone else's timeline. You do not know what I am preparing. You do not know what I am protecting. You do not know what I am developing inside you. And you do not know the full story behind anyone else's journey. Comparison steals peace because it shifts your attention away from what I am doing in your life. Stay focused on your path. Stay focused on your growth. Stay focused on your relationship with me. Trust me enough to believe that I know what I am doing. Even when progress feels slow, even when answers seem delayed, even when circumstances remain uncertain. Because I am not in a hurry. I am intentional. There is a difference. Fear rushes. Wisdom prepares. Fear demands immediate results. Wisdom builds lasting foundations. Fear focuses on speed. Wisdom focuses on readiness. Many of you are asking me to move faster. And sometimes I lovingly say no. Not because I want to frustrate you. Not because I enjoy watching you wait. But because I can see what lies ahead. I can see what needs strengthening. I can see what needs healing. I can see what needs preparation. And because I love you, I refuse to rush what requires time. My beloved, some of the greatest blessings in your life arrived after seasons that felt painfully slow. At the time, you questioned the waiting. Later, you appreciated it. At the time, you resisted the delay. Later, you understood it. At the time, you felt forgotten. Later, you realized you were being prepared. The same may be true right now. One day, you may look back on this season and thank me for things you currently do not understand. One day, you may see how the quiet season protected you, strengthened you, prepared you, positioned you. One day, what feels confusing now may become clear. But until that day arrives, trust remains your companion. Trust allows peace to remain present even when explanations are absent. Trust allows hope to survive even when answers are delayed. Trust allows you to keep walking even when the destination is hidden. My beloved, if your season feels quiet today, hear this clearly. Quiet does not mean abandoned. Quiet does not mean forgotten. Quiet does not mean ignored. Quiet often means preparation. Quiet often means growth. Quiet often means that I am doing work too deep for immediate visibility. Do not lose heart. Do not stop believing. Do not stop trusting. I am still working, especially here. If these words are speaking directly into your life today, type, I trust you in the quiet season. Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder. During moments when progress feels invisible, and continue watching until the end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you recognize the hidden ways I have been preparing you for blessings you cannot yet see. Remember this truth: the quiet season is not an empty season. It is often the season where the deepest roots are growing, and strong roots always produce lasting fruit. Come closer. There is something I want to reveal to you today. Something that many people spend years trying to understand. Something that quietly sits beneath much of their anxiety, much of their stress, much of their exhaustion, much of their fear. It is this: you have been trying to find peace through control. You tell yourself that if you can just organize everything correctly, you will finally relax. If you can solve every problem, you will finally breathe. If you can predict every outcome, you will finally rest. If you can secure every possibility, you will finally feel safe. But my beloved, peace cannot be built on control, because control is fragile. Control depends upon circumstances behaving the way you expect. Control depends upon people making the choices you hope they will make. Control depends upon life following your plans. And life rarely works that way. People change, circumstances change, plans change, timelines change, unexpected events appear, new challenges emerge. And when your peace is built upon control, every unexpected event feels like a threat. That is why so many people feel exhausted. They are trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. They are trying to carry responsibilities they were never assigned. They are trying to manage outcomes that belong to me. My beloved, listen carefully. The desire for control is often rooted in fear. Fear of disappointment, fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of uncertainty, fear of being hurt. Fear whispers that if you stay alert enough, prepared enough, and careful enough, you can prevent pain. But fear is making a promise it cannot keep, because no amount of control can eliminate uncertainty. No amount of planning can remove every risk. No amount of preparation can guarantee a perfect future. Life was never designed to offer that kind of certainty. That is why trust is necessary. Trust becomes the bridge when control reaches its limit. Some of you have become so accustomed to controlling everything that surrender feels uncomfortable. You feel responsible for every outcome. You feel responsible for everyone's happiness. You feel responsible for fixing every problem. You feel responsible for carrying every burden. And when something goes wrong, you immediately blame yourself. You immediately search for mistakes. You immediately assume you failed. My beloved, not every outcome is your responsibility. Not every disappointment is your fault. Not every challenge is yours to solve. Not every burden belongs on your shoulders. There are things only I can do. There are doors only I can open. There are hearts only I can change. There are circumstances only I can arrange. There are battles only I can fight. You must learn the difference between responsibility and control. Responsibility says, I will be faithful. Control says, I must guarantee the result. Responsibility says, I will obey. Control says, I must manage everything. Responsibility says, I will do my part. Control says, I must carry the entire outcome. One leads to peace, the other leads to exhaustion. My beloved, peace begins growing when you finally release the need to control what belongs to me. Think about a passenger sitting beside a skilled driver. The passenger can enjoy the journey because someone else is handling the road. But imagine that same passenger constantly reaching for the steering wheel, constantly trying to control every movement, constantly correcting every turn. The journey would become exhausting. Many of you are doing that spiritually. You have asked me to lead, yet you keep grabbing the wheel. You pray for guidance, then immediately try to force the outcome. You ask for peace, then spend hours worrying. You ask for provision, then spend days imagining disaster. My beloved, trust requires releasing the wheel, not because you stop caring, not because you stop being responsible, but because you finally accept that I am better equipped to lead than you are. I see roads you cannot see. I see dangers you cannot see. I see opportunities you cannot see. I see outcomes you cannot see. That is why surrender becomes wisdom, not weakness. Wisdom. Many people think surrender means giving up. But surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving over. Giving the burden over. Giving the outcome over. Giving the future over. Giving the fear over. Giving the situation over. Placing it into stronger hands. That is what trust looks like. Some of you are tired because you have spent years trying to carry the future. You keep asking questions that have no immediate answers. You keep chasing certainty that does not exist. You keep trying to solve tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. And every attempt leaves you more exhausted. My beloved, tomorrow belongs to me, not you. You have enough grace for today. You have enough strength for today. You have enough wisdom for today. You have enough peace for today. Stop borrowing tomorrow's worries. Tomorrow will bring its own grace, just as every previous day did. Think about all the days you worried about that never happened the way you expected. Think about all the disasters fear predicted that never arrived. Think about all the sleepless nights spent preparing for outcomes that never occurred. Fear stole those moments. Do not keep giving it permission. Instead, return your attention to me, one day at a time, one prayer at a time, one surrender at a time, one breath at a time. That is how peace grows, slowly, steadily, faithfully. My beloved, I want you to understand something important. The goal is not to become someone who never feels fear. The goal is to become someone who trusts me more than they trust fear. Fear may still speak, but it does not have to lead. Fear may still appear, but it does not have to rule. Fear may still knock, but it does not have to enter. Trust becomes stronger every time you choose my voice over fear's voice. And little by little, peace begins replacing pressure. Rest begins replacing striving. Faith begins replacing anxiety. My beloved, if these words are reaching a place inside your heart that has been exhausted from trying to control everything, type, "I surrender what I cannot control." Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your daily reminder. And continue watching until the end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you discover a freedom that comes only when trust becomes greater than fear. Remember this truth. You do not need to control everything to be safe. You only need to trust the one who already holds everything in his hands. Come closer. Slow down for a moment. Take a breath. Not the hurried breath you take while moving from one responsibility to another. Not the breath you take while checking your phone. Not the breath you take while your mind races ahead to tomorrow. A real breath, a slow breath, because what I am about to tell you cannot be heard by a hurried heart. My beloved, many of you have spent years waiting for me to speak, years looking for direction, years asking for answers, years searching for clarity. And because the answer did not arrive in the form you expected, you assumed I was silent. But what if I have been speaking all along? What if the problem is not my silence? What if the problem is that you have been listening for thunder while I have been speaking through a whisper? The world has trained you to expect noise. Noise gets attention. Noise creates urgency. Noise demands reactions. Noise fills every empty space. But my voice often arrives differently. My voice does not compete with chaos. My voice invites stillness. My voice invites trust. My voice invites peace. That is why so many people miss it. They are waiting for something dramatic. Meanwhile, I am speaking through something gentle. Some of you are searching for a sign, yet the peace you felt during prayer was the sign. The unexpected calm was the sign. The quiet assurance was the sign. The strength that appeared when you thought you had none left was the sign. The wisdom that arrived at the right moment was the sign. The door that quietly opened was the sign. Not every answer arrives as a miracle that changes the entire landscape overnight. Sometimes the answer arrives as enough strength for one more day. Sometimes the answer arrives as courage for one more step. Sometimes the answer arrives as peace that refuses to leave. My beloved, do not underestimate the quiet ways I work. The sunrise does not announce itself with shouting, yet it changes the entire sky. A seed does not make noise while growing, yet it eventually becomes a tree. Healing often happens quietly. Growth often happens quietly. Transformation often happens quietly. And my work inside your heart often happens quietly too. Many of you have become addicted to urgency. You feel uncomfortable when nothing dramatic is happening. You feel anxious when life slows down. You feel pressured when answers take time. And because of that, you keep missing the sacred gift of stillness. Stillness is not emptiness. Stillness is often where my voice becomes clearest. Think about how often fear speaks. Fear rarely whispers. Fear demands attention. Fear rushes. Fear insists. Fear pressures. Fear shouts. But my peace does not shout. My peace remains steady. My peace remains present. My peace remains faithful. That is why learning to recognize my voice requires slowing down. You cannot hear a whisper while constantly feeding the noise. Some of you wake up and immediately fill your mind with information. News, messages, notifications, concerns, responsibilities, opinions, predictions, and before the day has even begun, your heart feels crowded. My beloved, make room for stillness. Make room for quiet. Make room for my presence. Not because I am absent, but because your attention has become divided. You cannot hear a whisper while listening to 10 other voices. There are moments when I simply want you to sit with me, not asking, not striving, not performing, just sitting, just resting, just remembering that you are loved. Many of you only approach me when there is a problem, only when there is a crisis, only when there is an emergency. But relationship grows through presence, not only through problems. A child does not build trust with a parent only during emergencies. Trust grows through daily connection. The same is true with me. The more time you spend in my presence, the more familiar my voice becomes. The more familiar my voice becomes, the less authority fear possesses. The less authority fear possesses, the deeper your peace becomes. My beloved, there are people listening right now who have become exhausted from searching. Searching for answers, searching for certainty, searching for proof, searching for signs. And today I want to gently tell you something. Stop searching for what is already near. You do not need to chase my presence. You do not need to earn my attention. You do not need to convince me to care. I already care. I already see. I already know. I already love you. I am nearer than you realize, closer than your fears, closer than your doubts, closer than your worries, closer than your next breath. That truth alone should bring comfort to your heart. You are not walking through this season by yourself. You are not facing these questions alone. You are not carrying these burdens alone. I am here, and I have been here all along. Some of you keep waiting for a different answer while ignoring the peace I am already providing. You keep asking for certainty. I offer my presence. You keep asking for guarantees. I offer my faithfulness. You keep asking for control. I offer trust. You keep asking for explanations. I offer companionship. My beloved, my presence is not a lesser gift. My presence is the greatest gift, because every other blessing flows from it. When you know I am with you, uncertainty loses some of its power. When you know I am with you, fear loses some of its authority. When you know I am with you, waiting becomes easier. Not easy, but easier. Because now you are no longer waiting alone. If these words are speaking directly into your heart today, type, I hear your whisper. Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder during moments when fear tries to convince you that I am silent. And continue watching until the very end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you recognize my presence in ways you have overlooked for years. If these messages are helping you grow in faith, find peace, and draw closer to me, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs encouragement. And if you feel blessed by this ministry and would like to help these messages reach more hearts around the world, you can support the ministry through the link provided below. Remember this truth: the answer did not always arrive with thunder. Sometimes the answer arrived as a whisper, and the whisper was enough. Come closer. There is something I want to remind you today. Something fear desperately wants you to forget. Something discouragement constantly tries to hide from you. Something your weary heart needs to hear. My beloved, you are not as far away as you think. You are not as abandoned as you feel. You are not as forgotten as fear claims. And you are not as hopeless as your circumstances sometimes suggest. In fact, many of you are closer to breakthrough than you realize. The problem is that you keep measuring progress using visible evidence. You keep looking at your circumstances. You keep examining your situation. You keep checking for immediate change. And when nothing obvious appears, you assume nothing is happening. But my beloved, the greatest changes often begin long before they become visible. Think about dawn. The sky remains dark for a long time. Then slowly, almost unnoticed, light begins appearing at the horizon. At first, the darkness seems unchanged. At first, the night still feels dominant. At first, it appears as though nothing is happening. But the sunrise is already underway. The process has already begun. The light is already advancing. The darkness simply has not realized its time is ending. The same is true in many areas of your life. You keep looking for dramatic evidence. Meanwhile, transformation has already begun. Healing has already begun. Preparation has already begun. Growth has already begun. The answer may already be moving toward you. You simply cannot see it yet. My beloved, discouragement often arrives right before significant change, not because change is impossible, but because the enemy recognizes what is coming. The enemy wants you to quit before the answer arrives. Quit before the breakthrough appears. Quit before the healing becomes visible. Quit before the blessing unfolds. Quit before the door opens. Quit before the harvest comes. That is why some of your greatest battles occur near your greatest victories. Fear increases, doubt increases, fatigue increases, frustration increases, and many people mistake that pressure as proof that nothing is working. But sometimes the pressure is evidence that something important is near. Think about a seed pushing through the soil. The resistance increases before the breakthrough. Think about a child being born. The pressure increases before the arrival. Think about dawn. The darkness appears strongest before the light becomes obvious. Do not allow temporary pressure to convince you that permanent defeat is coming. My beloved, there are blessings you cannot yet see, opportunities you cannot yet imagine, doors you cannot yet recognize, connections you have not yet made, answers you have not yet received. And while you are focusing on what is missing, I am already working on what is coming. Trust me enough to believe that your current perspective is incomplete. You see one chapter. I see the entire story. You see one piece. I see the completed picture. You see one season. I see the full harvest. That is why trust remains so important. Trust allows you to continue walking before evidence appears. Trust allows hope to survive before results become visible. Trust allows peace to remain present while the answer is still developing. Many of you have become discouraged because the journey feels longer than expected. You thought you would be further along by now. You imagined a different timeline. You planned a different outcome. You expected different circumstances. And because reality unfolded differently, disappointment entered your heart. My beloved, be careful not to let disappointment become your identity. Disappointment is an experience. It is not who you are. Delay is a season. Waiting is a chapter. It is not the entire story. I know the plans I have for you, and those plans have not been canceled by your current circumstances. Your mistakes did not cancel them. Your doubts did not cancel them. Your fears did not cancel them. Your delays did not cancel them. My purpose is stronger than your weakness. My faithfulness is stronger than your uncertainty. My love is stronger than your fear. That is why I keep asking you to continue. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep believing. Not because you can see the outcome, but because you trust the one leading you. My beloved, some of you are waiting for motivation before taking the next step. But faith often moves before motivation arrives. Faith takes the step, then strength follows. Faith trusts, then confidence grows. Faith obeys, then clarity increases. Do not wait until every feeling agrees. Feelings are important, but they are not always accurate guides. Let trust lead. Let faith move. Let peace remain. and watch what happens over time. Many breakthroughs arrive gradually, not all at once. Healing often happens gradually. Growth often happens gradually. Wisdom often develops gradually. Even miracles sometimes unfold in stages. Do not despise small progress. Do not ignore small victories. Do not overlook small signs of growth. Those small things matter. They are often evidence that larger things are already developing. My beloved, there are moments when you feel like giving up. Moments when the waiting feels too long. Moments when the burden feels too heavy. Moments when the answer feels too distant. During those moments, remember this: you do not need enough strength for the entire journey. You only need enough strength for the next step, and I will provide it. The same way I always have. The same way I always will. Because my faithfulness does not depend upon your feelings. My faithfulness depends upon my character. And my character never changes. If these words are speaking directly into your heart today, type, "I will keep moving forward." Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder. During moments when discouragement tries to steal your hope, and continue watching until the end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you recognize how much closer you are to peace, freedom, and breakthrough than you currently realize. Remember this truth: just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. The sunrise begins before the sky changes. The roots grow before the fruit appears. And many of my greatest answers begin long before you recognize that they have arrived. Come closer. There is something I want to show you today. Something that may explain why peace has felt so difficult to hold on to. Something that many people spend years misunderstanding. My beloved, peace is not something you achieve. Peace is something you receive. Yet many of you have been treating peace like a destination. You have been chasing it, running after it, trying to earn it, trying to create it, trying to manufacture it through effort. And the harder you chase it, the more exhausted you become. Because peace was never meant to be captured. It was meant to be received. Think about how much energy you have spent trying to create certainty, trying to control outcomes, trying to predict the future, trying to eliminate every possibility of pain, trying to remove every source of anxiety, trying to solve every unanswered question. You believed that once everything was finally under control, peace would arrive. But it never worked. Because peace was never waiting at the end of perfect circumstances. Peace was waiting in my presence. And my presence has been available the entire time. My beloved, many of you are tired because you are trying to do internally what only I can do spiritually. You are trying to create security. You are trying to create certainty. You are trying to create stability. You are trying to create peace. But peace is not built through control. Peace grows through trust. The more you trust me, the more room peace has to grow. The more you cling to control, the less room peace has to breathe. That is why surrender feels uncomfortable at first. Because surrender requires releasing what fear has taught you to grip tightly. Fear says, hold on tighter. I say, trust me. Fear says, figure everything out. I say, walk with me. Fear says, prepare for disaster. I say, receive my peace. Fear says, you are alone. I say, I am with you. And one of those voices will shape your life. Some of you have spent years trying to feel safe before trusting me. But trust comes first. Then peace follows. You keep asking for proof. I keep offering my presence. You keep asking for guarantees. I keep offering my faithfulness. You keep asking for complete understanding. I keep offering companionship, because companionship is stronger than certainty. The future may remain unknown, but you do not walk into it alone. That changes everything. My beloved, there are moments when you feel as though peace has disappeared. Moments when anxiety returns. Moments when old fears revisit your mind. Moments when discouragement knocks on the door again. Do not panic when that happens. Peace is not the absence of struggle. Peace is your decision about who you will trust during the struggle. A storm can exist while peace exists. Questions can exist while peace exists. Waiting can exist while peace exists. Uncertainty can exist while peace exists. Because peace is not built upon circumstances. Peace is built upon relationship. That relationship remains available every moment of every day. Some of you are exhausting yourselves, trying to feel peaceful. You constantly check your emotions, constantly analyze your thoughts, constantly monitor your feelings. You keep asking yourself, do I feel peace yet? Do I feel stronger yet? Do I feel better yet? My beloved, stop measuring every moment. A flower does not grow faster because someone keeps digging it up to inspect the roots. Growth takes time. Trust takes time. Healing takes time. Peace takes time. Allow the process to happen. Keep walking with me. Keep trusting me. Keep surrendering. And let peace grow naturally. The deepest peace is rarely dramatic. It arrives quietly. A calmer heart, a slower breath, a steadier perspective, a stronger trust, a greater confidence in my faithfulness. These are often the first signs. Do not overlook them. Many miracles begin quietly. My beloved, there is someone listening right now who feels frustrated. You have prayed, you have waited, you have trusted, and yet some of your questions remain unanswered. Hear me carefully. The unanswered question does not mean the relationship has failed. The delay does not mean I have left. The waiting does not mean I have forgotten. I am still working, and often the greatest gift I give during waiting seasons is my presence, because my presence strengthens you for whatever comes next. Some people spend their entire lives chasing peace through money. Others chase it through success. Others chase it through relationships. Others chase it through achievement. Yet none of those things can permanently provide what only my presence can sustain. That is why some people have everything and still feel restless, and others possess very little yet remain deeply peaceful. The difference is not their circumstances. The difference is where they place their trust. My beloved, stop searching for peace in places where peace cannot live. Peace lives in trust. Peace lives in surrender. Peace lives in relationship. Peace lives in my presence. And that means peace is available to you right now. Not after everything changes. Not after every prayer is answered. Not after every problem disappears. Right now. In this moment. In this season. In this chapter of your life. Receive it. If these words are speaking directly into your heart today, type, I receive your peace. Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder whenever anxiety tries to convince you that peace is far away. And continue watching until the end of this journey, because what lies ahead may help you discover that the peace you have been searching for has been much closer than you ever imagined. Remember this truth. The day you stop trying to manufacture peace is often the day you begin receiving it. Because peace has never been something you create. It has always been something I give. Come closer. There is something I want to place gently inside your heart today. Something that may help you keep walking when the road feels long. Something that may strengthen your faith when answers seem distant. Something that may bring peace to places where fear has been speaking too loudly. My beloved, one day you will look back and see what you cannot see right now. One day you will understand things that currently confuse you. One day you will recognize blessings hidden inside disappointments. One day you will see how my hand was moving through situations that seemed completely still. One day you will realize that I was carrying you during moments when you thought you were walking alone. Right now, you only see a portion of the story. You see the chapter you are living. You see the questions you are facing. You see the burdens you are carrying. You see the uncertainty surrounding you, but I see the entire journey. I see the beginning. I see the middle. I see the ending. I see every prayer, every tear, every fear, every act of faith, every moment when you chose to keep going even though giving up seemed easier. Nothing has been wasted. Not one moment. Not one prayer. Not one season of waiting. Not one disappointment. Not one tear shed in the quiet of the night. I have seen it all, and I have been working through it all. Many of you have asked me why certain things happened, why certain doors closed, why certain relationships ended, why certain opportunities disappeared, why certain prayers seemed delayed, why certain seasons became so difficult. And while I know those questions come from a sincere heart, there are answers that can only be understood from a greater perspective. A child does not always understand the decisions of a loving parent, not because the parent lacks wisdom, but because the child cannot yet see the larger picture. The same is often true in your journey. You are standing inside the process. I am viewing the completed work. You are living through the chapter. I am holding the entire book. That is why trust remains so important. Trust allows you to continue walking when explanations are unavailable. Trust allows peace to remain when clarity feels distant. Trust allows hope to survive while answers are still developing. My beloved, there are things I protected you from that you never saw. Doors that never opened because they would have harmed you. Relationships that never developed because they would have wounded you. Opportunities that never arrived because they would have distracted you. Paths you never walked because they would have led away from my best for you. You often grieve closed doors, but sometimes those closed doors were acts of protection. You often mourn delays, but sometimes those delays were acts of mercy. You often question redirection, but sometimes that redirection was saving you from pain you could not see. One day, you will understand more. One day, many of the pieces will fit together. One day you will see how my wisdom was operating even when your understanding was limited. But until that day arrives, trust remains the bridge. My beloved, I want you to stop measuring my faithfulness by your current circumstances. Because circumstances change, emotions change, situations change, timelines change. But my faithfulness does not. My character does not. My promises do not. My love does not. There have been moments in your life when you thought everything was falling apart, yet later you discovered things were actually falling into place. There have been moments when you thought you were losing, yet later you realized you were being redirected. There have been moments when you thought I was silent, yet later you recognized I had been speaking through events, people, timing, and circumstances all along. That is why I want you to trust me now, not because you understand everything, but because you have already seen evidence of my faithfulness before. Remember the prayers I answered. Remember the doors I opened. Remember the strength I provided. Remember the comfort I gave. Remember the protection you received. Remember the ways I carried you through seasons you thought would break you. Those moments matter. They are reminders, evidence, witnesses to my faithfulness. And the same faithfulness that carried you then is carrying you now. My beloved, there is another truth I want you to remember. You are stronger than you think, not because of your own power, but because my grace has been working inside you. You have survived things you once believed would destroy you. You have endured seasons you thought would never end. You have walked through valleys you never wanted to enter, and still you are here, still growing, still learning, still believing, still moving forward. That is not an accident. That is evidence of my sustaining hand. Fear wants you to focus on what remains unresolved, but I want you to remember how much has already been overcome. Fear wants you to stare at the mountain ahead. I want you to remember every mountain behind you. Fear wants you to forget my faithfulness. I want you to remember it. because remembrance strengthens trust, and trust strengthens peace. My beloved, there are people listening right now who feel weary. Weary from waiting, weary from hoping, weary from carrying burdens, weary from fighting fears. To you I say this: do not quit now. Do not surrender to discouragement now. Do not abandon hope now. You have come too far. I have carried you too faithfully, and there is still more ahead, more healing, more growth, more peace, more wisdom, more joy, more evidence of my goodness. The story is not over. The chapter is not complete. The journey continues, and I am still with you. If these words are speaking directly into your heart today, type, "I will remember your faithfulness." Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder during moments when fear tries to rewrite your memory. And continue watching until the very end of this journey, because the final message may help you understand the greatest truth of all. The truth that has been quietly supporting every lesson you have heard so far. Remember this truth. One day you will look back and see that I carried you through far more than you realized, and you will understand that I was never absent, not for a single moment. Come closer. Before this journey ends, there is one final truth I want to leave inside your heart. One truth that has quietly been woven through every word. One truth that has been standing behind every lesson. One truth that can change the way you face every future season of your life. My beloved, the peace you have been seeking was never as far away as you thought. For so long, you believed peace was waiting somewhere in the future, waiting beyond the next breakthrough, waiting beyond the next answer, waiting beyond the next season, waiting beyond the next victory, waiting beyond the next solved problem. You kept telling yourself, when this situation changes, I will finally have peace. When this prayer is answered, I will finally rest. When this burden disappears, I will finally breathe. When this uncertainty ends, I will finally trust. But now I want you to see something. Peace was never waiting at the end of the journey. Peace was walking beside you during the journey. You simply did not recognize it. You thought peace would arrive as certainty. Instead, it arrived as my presence. You thought peace would arrive as control. Instead, it arrived as trust. You thought peace would arrive after the answer. Instead, it arrived before the answer. You thought peace would remove every question. Instead, it helped you carry the questions. That is the peace I have always offered, not a temporary feeling, not a fragile emotion, not a peace dependent upon circumstances, but a peace rooted in me, a peace that survives storms, a peace that survives waiting, a peace that survives uncertainty, a peace that survives unanswered questions, because it is anchored in something stronger than circumstances. It is anchored in my faithfulness. My beloved, look at how far you have come. Think about the fears that once controlled your thoughts. Think about the burdens that once seemed impossible to carry. Think about the nights when you thought you would never feel hope again. Think about the moments when discouragement whispered that nothing would ever change. Yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still moving forward, not perfectly, not without struggle, not without questions, but you are still here. That matters. Do not overlook that. Do not dismiss that. Do not minimize that, because every step forward was evidence of my grace. Every breath was evidence of my mercy. Every act of faith was evidence of my work inside you. You may not feel strong, but you are stronger than you were. You may not feel healed, but healing has been happening. You may not feel peaceful, but peace has been growing. Sometimes growth happens so gradually that you do not notice it until you look back. The tree does not see itself growing, yet it grows. The dawn does not arrive all at once, yet darkness eventually gives way to light. The same has been happening inside you. My beloved, there will still be challenges ahead. There will still be seasons of waiting. There will still be moments when fear knocks on the door. There will still be days when uncertainty visits your mind. I never promised a life without storms, but I promised my presence within them. And that promise remains. The future may contain questions, but it also contains my faithfulness. The future may contain challenges, but it also contains my strength. The future may contain waiting, but it also contains my peace. The future may contain difficulties, but it also contains my presence. And my presence changes everything, because when you know you are not alone, fear loses much of its power. When you know you are held, anxiety loses much of its authority. When you know you are loved, discouragement loses much of its influence. When you know I am with you, the burden becomes lighter, not because life becomes easy, but because you stop carrying it by yourself. My beloved, if you remember nothing else from this entire journey, remember this: you do not have to earn my love. You do not have to prove your worth. You do not have to carry every burden. You do not have to understand every answer. You do not have to control every outcome. You do not have to fear every tomorrow. You only need to keep walking with me, one step at a time, one prayer at a time, one act of trust at a time, one day at a time. That is enough. More than enough. Because I have never asked you to carry the entire future. I have only asked you to trust the one who already holds it. And I do. I hold tomorrow. I hold your future. I hold your unanswered questions. I hold your fears. I hold your loved ones. I hold your purpose. I hold your story. And most importantly, I hold you. Nothing can remove you from my care. Nothing can separate you from my love. Nothing can cancel my faithfulness. Nothing can erase my promises. I am still the God who sees, still the God who hears, still the God who comforts, still the God who provides, still the God who restores, still the God who remains. Always, my beloved, if these words have touched your heart and helped you recognize my peace in a deeper way, type, I choose to walk in your peace. Let those words become your declaration. Let them become your reminder when fear tries to return. Let them become your testimony that peace is no longer something you are chasing, but something you are receiving. And if this entire journey has encouraged you, strengthened your faith, and brought hope into your life, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs it today. If you feel blessed by these messages and would like to support this ministry so more people can hear words of hope and encouragement, you can do so through the link provided below. Stay until the very end and carry this truth with you into every new day. The answer arrived quietly. The peace was already near. The whisper was real, and I was with you the entire time. Amen.